We live.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Just Kicking It. I go by Polo Show and I'm with
Soy.
And we have a guest today.
Z the Free. What's up, y'all?
Yeah. And we're here to talk some hip hop. So, first of all, in the global world of hip hop, Kanye West, legendary producer, legendary Grammy winner, legendary artist, is now also presidential candidate. And he was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast for a three-hour talk, where we got to really get into the mind of Kanye West. So I'm gonna head over to this timestamp guy here.
Yeah, I only watched like half of it because I had to do something last night, but I'll probably finish it later. From what I heard, it's actually pretty interesting. Like, I've been like super like tipsy like this with Kanye, where I'm like 1 week I'm like, I hate this guy, and then the next I'm like, he's all right.
I think that's how we all feel about Kanye right now.
Yeah.
How do you?
I don't know if I've ever tipped back into the he's all right, to be real. Kanye said some shit that I'm like, yeah, no. I feel like the only way that I tip is when I'm like, I think this human has serious mental health issues and we should always be like supportive and graceful to people that are going through those things. But there's been some stuff where I'm just like, nah, It's hard.
So I'm just looking at like some of the things that were discussed in the 3 hours. I'll just read through here. Intro hits why Kanye wants to be president. Basically, Kanye says like if he feels like it's his calling from God to be the leader of the free world, because now he's chosen this path, to be a God-fearing man, and he's shown that through his music as well. So that's his reasoning for wanting to be the president. He's like he doesn't even want to call it president. He wants to be the leader. He feels like he's been called to be the leader of the free world. He's had talks with Oprah, Trump, Reagan, Kanye calling why Kanye believes he can lead, basically because God told him to. The music industry, the music entertainment industry, just trying to get his masters back. Basically, he was, he went on Twitter recently and he was doing that whole rant about, everyone needs to own their masters. I'm here to free us. I'm Moses. I'm here to free my people from these slave deals. So basically in this, he said like, he was thinking about buying his masters back, but, his goal now is to buy Universal, and have that and own that label, and he was just like, Universal is like only 53 billion, the products he's making will soon be worth that much, so I don't know. That's kind of his thinking with that. I thought that was dope too, but we'll have to see some of these things come to pass. He was definitely talking about a lot of stuff and we're like, all right, we'll see. We'll have to see if this can come to pass. But I don't know. Have you been following this this journey with him, saying he's gonna get artists their masters back, saying he's trying to like free people from these slave contracts?
Are you just asking it openly?
Yeah, I'm just asking, yeah.
I mean, in that particular way, I think that that's a really amazing claim that he makes. So I think as any independent artist, like the level that I'm at, it's like paying attention to those things, because to me, it's like somebody throwing you some insight as to what's actually going on in the industry and in regards to labels. I feel like you guys probably know this too, even just from doing your own thing, that the world is so different now. And with the internet, blessings and curses, that idea of like needing a label to access these things or kind of needing that type of platform to get your music out doesn't exist. So I think when Kanye's speaking that, he's probably like connecting to a lot of people who are wanting that to be real. But I also think that there's a lot in the industry and like the actual heaviness of it that you probably need help navigating, or you're going to drown because it's so complex. So in terms of like, if that was a possibility and artists could own their masters, like that's an amazing vision and that's dope. And I think like if it wasn't such a capitalist world where it was driven by money, the industry would be a better place. But I think that it's like a claim that would take so many steps to actually make that possible, because if it happens at Universal, it's like it's not necessarily going to happen over here. Do you know what I mean? It's like not everybody's going to agree to that immediately.
That's why he's saying he just wants to buy like Universal, just want to buy one of these like major companies that owns the masters, which makes sense. So I guess I think we talked about this as well, Soy, last week. Like, it's a good idea, the sentiment of it, like, yo, trying to get artists this masters, this makes a lot of sense. But like, how genuine is this coming from Kanye? Like, how do we feel this is? You know, that's
like he just has too many goals right now.
Like,
can't do all this.
Goal-driven man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say like you have too many goals, but God, like how are you going to run for president and get everyone's masters and buy Universal?
Like, there's probably both things I want to focus on solely.
And he's also like, the plan to get the masters is he's also going to keep making, you know, innovating Yeezy products. You know, he, you know, even showed off like some foam sneaker he was wearing. He's going to keep making these products, manufacturing them for cheap and selling them. And he'll eventually, you know, be able to buy Universal. So in addition to getting people's masters back, running for president, he's also still a capitalist, you know, making products and selling. You know, he's doing all these many things, you know. And Joe Rogan asked him at one point, like, man, you have all these different ideas happening. Like, how do you stay productive? And Kanye says this is what his day consists of. He drives his kids to school every morning and he stays at the school with them all day. Like, because the school is a school that he built. Like, it's his own, like, it's a school that he's currently building. Like, he designs the curriculum and there's a bunch of shit going on there. That's, you know, probably not like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But it sounds like it's I'm not done going through all the stuff that he says he does, man. So like,
imagine Kanye's your principal, low-key, just running. What I found interesting is that, and bless Joe Rogan for trying to keep him focused. I actually think he did a really like amazing job of that. But I find it interesting that there was one point in there where he was talking about like the music is losing me money at this point. You know what I mean? Like the music is not like something, it's like I have this 5 billion here and the music's losing me this many million. And I don't know if I feel like that's fair, because it's like, yo, to me, the music gets you the platform, that gets you the exposure, that allows you to make these sneakers, products, any type of thing that then people fuck with, you know, like it's because of the music and your position. And that's what I try to do with my position, is like that allows you to then leak into all these different things and make money those ways. So I felt like I was a bit like, oh, come on. Like the music led to everything.
No,
right?
I feel like I do see what you're saying. What he was saying was like, right now he's worth like, he said he was like $53 million in debt. To bring that up, you know, a couple years ago when he was making Life of Pablo. And now he's worth 5 billion. You know, and he says that 5 billion net worth isn't from music, you know, it's from these products that he's making him worth that much, you know. And so at this point, like he says he sees $300 million every year in revenue, and music is like a negative 4 million. I think that's what you were talking about. Like music in that, when he looks at his money every year, is like it's actually a negative to him because of, you know, how much the labels are, you know, taxing him basically because they own his masters and all that stuff. Like when he puts out music,
so we should talk about that. I feel like rather than saying the music is negative, because I'm like, you wouldn't have that gross if you weren't Kanye West as a hip hop artist. That's what I'm saying. Like it just wouldn't be, you know?
That is very true. And he brings that up as well. He says like, you know, there's definitely like he used them, you know, he's a superstar now, you know, it wasn't a one-sided relationship, you know, they definitely used each other. He's like, there just needs to be a change in the contract, you know, like there just needs to be an adjustment. So again, I feel like we all agree that, you know, this plight that Kanye is on, this quest, you know, this crusade is a righteous one. But like, I guess it's another side of the question. Like, yo, Kanye, the whole time Kanye said like, yo, I'm just a messenger for God now. You know, this is not about my ego, you know, and dude talked about himself for 3 hours, you know, like,
yeah,
so,
it's not,
it's
a cop out,
you know, so I was like, I don't know. I don't know. He was doing, so anyways, let me continue on to this list. At one point he sings, and he says he's going to build like a university for, you know, gospel people. And it'll be a stadium in it that has like 100,000 choir people singing his album. Like, that's why he made that album. Like that's, and he went and he sang for a bit. And I don't know, I could see it. It was kind of dope. He was like, yo, like, imagine the healing power if you're just in a room of 100 people, just like 100,000 people singing like that. You would feel that shit in your body. He had all these ideas, man. And I was like, man, that actually sounds pretty legit, man. He's like, yo, I'm going to manifest this. But again, oh man, how are you doing all this shit, man? Your day consists of going to school with your kids and like you're trying to save the world. Like,
how do you go to school for a full day and then get all this done?
Maybe he does it at school. Maybe he does it while low-key in the back of the classroom, like watching them, you know?
Like, first I got to go to math, and then I get started on my debates.
Mm-hmm.
He also talks about his Donda design company and how it's not just a design company. It's actually like the next NASA. They're taking over inventions that Tesla, Edison didn't complete. They're trying to grow food faster in shorter amount of spaces, in smaller amounts of spaces. They're trying to power things with just water, just like natural things. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna run through the rest of the stuff here quickly. So Silicon Valley, Steve Jobs talked about how that's an inspiration for him. Talked about the Star Wars movies, how the Disney ones suck. They're not as good as the original ones.
They talked about that?
Yeah, they did.
I need to watch the rest of this. Sounds awesome.
It literally covered everything. It's like pop culture, presidential candidates, inventions, like
over designing and the internet, just talking about like other ideas he has for like content, but he's not working in content. Kanye's daily schedule, that's actually in here. There was actually a point where like Joe Rogan was like, all right. At one point, Joe Rogan was like, yo, you keep going off when I ask a question. So like, look, man, like, there's gonna be like I'm gonna have to ask you. You need to get like answers from you. Like, what's happening in your day, bro? And that's when he explains like, I still don't understand, man. Either like all the consultants at the school with him that are doing all these things with him, like I don't know, man. Like. So yeah, but that's you got to check out that part. Star Wars and Kanye's music, just saying he wants music to be like the old Star Wars and not this new like carbon copy shit.
I feel him.
Kanye is the Michael Jordan of products. That's what he called himself. His net worth and taxes and the gap, just basically saying he wants to sit on the board on the gap, which I think makes a lot of sense. Bioengineering. Basically saying, and then at the end here, like he started asking him like serious questions like budget and foreign policy. Like if you're actually trying to run for president, like what do you see about budget and foreign policy? Meeting with other world leaders, the American dream, healthcare, student debt, all these other things basically, and basically just, and that's why I think like he should not be elected president right now. Because I think his heart's in the right place, but like he does need to do a lot more like growth and like studying, or just he needs to be more informed. Because his answers to these questions were just like I just, like I said, God is like he made sure like he was quiet. At one point, he even said like he closed his eyes, said a prayer. At one point, he was like. These are serious questions. I just know that when I'm in this position, when I'm given all the facts, like that's my gift. When I'm given all the facts, I can make the right decision. So when I'm in this position, God will be guiding me, and when I'm given all the facts, I will make the right decision. So he didn't answer like, yo, what would you do about student debt? Like, what would you do about the deficit of the country? He was just saying like, I know that I can fix these problems, and I'm like, I can see that your heart's in the right place, Kanye, but that's not the answer to this question.
We need more. In COVID, we need more.
But at one point he says, "Yeah, I'm off the grid, just with how I think." And Joe Rogan's like, "Yeah, you are off the grid." Like,
you know what? He actually had some pretty. There was some moments where he said some things that were profound, because I do think there's an essence of Kanye that is really against like the status quo. Do you know what I mean? And just doing things for the mainstream sake. And that part I really appreciate and value. I feel like I have homies that are like that. The artists I like are like that. And he had a piece where he was talking about like, I'm saying the truth, and like the world is all lies right now. So of course it seems kind of wild when I say things. And I was like, you know what, that is real. And I like it.
That was a real moment.
Kanye, that's the one where I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Are you crazy?" Like, what he's like, am I crazy, or am I just saying the truth in a world of lies? Like. Yeah,
that was the quote, and it was like, I was like, wow, that's.
I'm crazy. I'm like, shit.
People accuse Jim Carrey of being crazy, and Jim Carrey was just like saying some real stuff about the world and how we live, right? Same with Keanu Reeves. Whenever a celebrity says something that's like outside that world that we deem celebrities to be in, we're like, oh, they must be like sick or twisted. But it's like maybe they just know more than we do, and they're like, yo, don't even join this crazy rat race.
Kanye's definitely woke. Like that's definitely the energy I got from this. Like, Kanye's definitely like, yo.
Well, he's channeling God.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying. He's like,
gifted by God. He's Moses. So yeah. He's
Steve Jobs.
He's Moses. He's Steve Jobs. He's Walt Disney. He's Henry Ford. He's Nikola Tesla. He said it all. Like he said, on all these people, like the industry has never seen Walt Disney. Like,
yeah. So Mans is next level.
We fucking love Kanye.
I do too, man. Fuck.
I was gonna say, man, my favorite thing. He even said, like, yo, that I think that's the only soundbiteable thing I said in here. He was like, yo, if you put like a straight line on the ground and told someone to walk across it, they'd be able to walk across it easily. But if you put that same line like in between two skyscrapers, you know, you can see the ground is so far from them. Just the consistent fear of falling is gonna make them fall. They're not gonna be able to walk, or even if it was just like 4 feet, like they wouldn't be able to do it. And so it was just like, carry on.
I was just gonna say, like, when you're on when it's like dangling like that, like it's different from just on the ground.
Just still,
I know the metaphor.
Even if it was like elevated off the ground, you'd still be able, you know, if it's elevated off the ground like a shoe height, you would be able to make that distance. You know what I mean? But it's like when you think about that, when you're looking at it, like, yo, I'm not gonna do that. But it's like, but what he brought up is like, it's the perception of fear a lot of times that is like blocking us from like the superpowers we can have as humans from doing, like, from crossing that thing. Because if you could just tell, that's what the guy who does that professionally does, is like, yo, I'm just on the ground doing this. I just have to block out all this other stuff. But yeah, I thought that was really like profound. He said a lot of stuff that like I felt like really motivated me, really inspired me. But overall, you know, I recognize that I'm a fan, and I know, you know, because this whole thing at the end of the day was, you know, because at the end of the day they showed how you can vote for Kanye. You have to like write him in because he's now he's on the ballots. He's not on every single ballot, but you can actually have a write-in ballot, and that's what it would be because he's a candidate. There's a spot where you can just be like, I'm Kanye West is the person I'm writing in. So this whole thing was just, you know, it was kind of like his own, like, to promote his own shit, you know, during this election. So overall, so if I'm talking about this if this was some video I watched to make me vote for Kanye West, I feel like his heart is in the right place, his mind is in the right place, but like he needs some more time. You know, Kanye is not supposed to be the leader of the free world, not right now, you know. But yeah, I think we can all agree that this guy has an incredible mind, you know. There's a lot of like insight in the way he thinks. Word. So on to our next news. Kendrick explains album delays. So I just saw, like, I think he was talking to some publication, and what he said was he's just looking for a new sound, you know. Every album has to be like a new sound that he, you know, he feels like will be able to drive what he's writing, you know, will be able to drive his narrative as a creative, which I think is all understandable. I feel like when I saw that, I was like, that's reasonable.
It's not really reasonable. Like, I feel like we're so on it with artists, like, that we get to dictate what they do. And it's like, yo, if you want to drop an album every 5 years, do that. Like, I just think it depends, like, the way that we expect professional artists to move. I'm always like, who has made these confines? It's the same way that, like, if an artist has a sound and they come out with something that's different, we like often crucify them for that. And I think that that's such like a downfall of our humanity. It's like a creative, an artist is someone who's making art, and that art can move and take life and go in all different directions. And like, it's not our place to ever like censor somebody and how they want to move. You know what I mean? So I think it's like people will get angry, like, oh, I'm a Kendrick fan, he's not giving me anything new. And I'm like, yo, if you're a Kendrick fan, you're a Kendrick fan. And just like, there's enough brilliance and poetry in any of his projects that you could listen to that for years before you get something new. And I think like it's this idea that it is like that idea of capitalism and machine. And like, we're so consuming all the time with social media that we're like, give us more, give us more. Whoa. Where it's like, maybe it's okay to sit with something for a minute and like really soak into it. And if that minute happens to be 3 years since we've heard him to 2017, it's like, I'm cool with that. You know, like I'm down. I could listen back from To Pimp a Butterfly, you know what I mean? And just like be in that zone. But maybe y'all are hungry for it. You're like, give it.
I am. I'm like, yo, enough is enough.
You don't think like, what about like?
Damn's a long way off at this stage. That is real.
What about the game of rap, like, and being consistent? I feel like it's just kind of like you can fall off if you take too long before your next project. Kendrick is hot right now. If he drops a project, it's probably gonna go platinum. Like,
he'll always be hot. Yo, Kendrick could literally wait 8 years, and then they'll make a big thing of like, yo, it's been 8 years since an album. Like, if you're dope and you're sick, that is consistent to me.
Yeah.
I agree. But I feel like there are people in the game who they're hot, but if they go away for too long, they sizzle.
Yeah, then that's different. I think that's like that maybe means they were hot because of like. I don't know. Like you take an artist like somebody, any of the Lils humans, other than Lil Uzi Vert, I really love him. But it's like they might fall off because I think their attraction is something different than what Kendrick is making people, like listen and be pulled in by.
Yeah,
right.
You're buying into the, it's much more than just the sound. You're buying into the art. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's the same experience with the Littles. I don't know.
It could be.
The lows.
So Busta calls out T.I. So some versus beef brewing. We saw earlier this month, or maybe I think it was earlier this month. T.I.'s been like looking for like someone to battle him in a versus. He's like, yo, no one in Atlanta is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a New York dude. So he said he has to be 50 Cent. 50 Cent just laughed him off. Like, come on, bro. I'm not, 50 Cent didn't even like care whose feelings it was hurting. Like, it's just like, come on, I'm not doing that with you. Like, I have hits. And so anyways, it brought him to this point where I think even Jeezy called him out, like, yo, I'm in Atlanta. I think it would be a dope one. And then Busta was like, all right, since you want to take it up with a New York dude, he made a whole video like, yo, come after me, man. Like, I'm that dude. And T.I. made a video back responding saying there's a generational gap. Busta's been in the game since 1991. T.I. probably hit the games in like, I don't know, late 2000, kind of. Like,
yeah.
So there's some sense to his point, but it did just look like he was running away from it.
Like a cop out.
Yeah. And so Busta called him out. Busta made another video just saying like, yo, it's clear, it's fine. That, I can tell that, I can see why you did it, but it's just like, just tell them you don't want the smoke, like, that was really like,
it's fine.
He was, in that video, he was like, yo, man, ask Tim and Swizz if I can do two people at once. I'm down to battle two people at once. It's not like, try something new, like he was just, he was just on his shit. But I definitely went and looked because I feel like Busta doesn't have like albums that are like, I can recall, but like I went and looked at like his hit songs and he's had hits, like he has hits, you know what I mean? Like Busta is that dude, so if a versus is just 20, as far as you can stand 20 songs, and he definitely has over 20. I think, yeah, what do you guys think? This is not he's copped out, but we always have this whenever they say there's a hypothetical one. Like, who do you think would get it would take it in a T.I.?
Oh, Busta Rhymes, just because of like the legend and air that he's been on. I think T.I. like it's been really interesting watching him like in the show and stuff. But I just can't imagine like. I picture this. I picture T.I. in his like pimped out suit, like all clean, like the cleanest, like nails done, like just so in that way. And then I picture Busta Rhymes, who's just like, to me, kind of like that gritty, like hard version of it. And I just can't imagine that in a battle and like T.I. taking it. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I just can't picture the scene and T.I. like walking with it. I think they both be dope, but that's what I picture.
Yeah. I don't know if, what do you think, Soy?
And I don't know. I think T.I. is like a really tricky one to do like a versus with because he's a super lyrical MC, but he's also...
what is versus about, bro? Do you have 20 hit songs to compete with my 20 hit songs? Like that's what it's about.
But I feel like, like I understand why he didn't do it. Like Busta Rhymes, like you said, like he's been in the game for like so long. Like he has so many songs that probably shit you probably would remember, and then you hear it like, oh yeah.
Is it a valid reason, or like does he just not want the smoke? Because I mean, I feel like if you're great, like I feel like Drake is great, and Drake could go up against Jay-Z in a versus. Jay-Z's been in the game longer than him.
And part of battle is like, do you know what I mean? Like, when
exactly.
you're going to lose, right? But part of it is like showing up to hold your space and be like, okay, I'm doing this because it's part of this genre. It's part of the culture. It's part of where this, the roots of it. So,
I think no one loses in verses because like even a lot of the time, you always come out of it with like, oh shit, I forgot about these songs by this dude, or like, oh shit, I got some new songs out of this, this because these guys come up to bring their best, and like shit, like I got back into Mario's music, like
oh my gosh,
I checked out some Nelly songs after that verses, like so like that's part of the verses. You don't lose, it's just even if you're going there to lose. You know what the gain is. It's like 3 million people are going to be checking you out that weren't checking you out last week.
The first thing that popped in my mind for T.I. was like T.I. versus Gucci Mane.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. They said like someone from Atlanta, right? Like because it has like I think Gucci Mane, even Young Jeezy as well. Like
that'd be fire too. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
But Busta, nah, son.
Yeah. So I think we all agree that Busta would bust his.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, on to the presidential debates.
Oh, yeah.
Just casually from this bus guy battle into the presidential election. That's actually a good segue.
Yo, so who actually saw the recent debates that happened?
I watched 10 minutes. And I was like,
I didn't see any of this one. Did you?
I feel like they've been such a disaster that I just wait for the internet to let me know.
Exactly. I saw that. I saw the clip of Joe Rogan talking about it. Joe Budden talking about it. And just they said it was better, but it was the same bullshit. Just talking over each other. I saw the clip of at one point Trump is like, "I'm the least racist. Like I can't." The room is so dark. But
it's like, okay, you just said that. It's like exhibit A of your racism.
You shouldn't be the least racist. Just be a racist. Anyways.
I can't see anyone else in this room, but if I could see, I would be the lead. I'm like,
answers.
What are you saying?
I don't know.
There's some pretty funny moments. I'm not gonna lie. There were some pretty.
That's really what it's about. Like when I see people, it's just people are just laughing at it. It's not. I don't see anyone saying anything serious about it. Like, yo, so he had some of these points to debate back. Like no, everyone is just like, yo, these are the highlights.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So the takeaway from this is that America is kind of embarrassing right now.
I mean, the world is embarrassing right now. But I also think that it's amazing because I remember when Trump first got elected, and I'm actually pretty into politics, and I was a part of student government for a while, and I do think that there's a lot of power in voting and that young people should be engaged in the political process. And I think it's even interesting that you were like, yo, this isn't a political podcast, but I'm like, everything is political. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're an artist, you are political because the world that we live in right now, you have to take a stand on some things. You have to be anti-racist. You know what I mean? If you're, in my opinion, if you want to fuck with me, you have to be anti-racist. And so I feel like for us to start saying that we're not political or we don't want to go there, I'm like, the world right now needs people to be like, this is political and we're going to talk about it. Because the way that the world is set up right now with power imbalances, it needs to be addressed wherever we can. And so for me, when Trump first got elected, I took it hard because it felt like it had taken all these things that I believed in about what politics could be, which was an avenue for change, and it kind of just made it a joke, and it pulled away from the idea of people wanting to be genuine leaders and wanting to affect kind of positive shifts and standing for something. And I feel like it's just gone. If I would have known how downhill it would go and what politics and this whole presidential campaign now would become, it's like I would have been shocked and in disbelief at how low it could become. So I feel like I don't know how it bounces back from this. You know what I mean? Because I think it's made a lot of people who were already maybe on the line or maybe just apathetic about voting just be like, this is a joke. And now it is a joke. And so I think it's just so detrimental for the forums of our world because we're we're actually really lucky where we live, that in theory our votes matter and they make a difference and it is democratic. And so it's like the more and more people who disengage with that, the worse the whole system becomes. You know, like there's no positive that rises from that. So it's just a very interesting time to try and stay engaged with it. And yeah, I hope that young people can like try and stay in it, you know, and like it makes people not want to be president or not want to run, even just to be like mayor of their city or whatever. And what we actually need is more people engaging in that. The same way we need like more dope humans becoming police to change the culture of that fucked up system. But it makes people want to do the opposite when they see how many flaws are there.
It is pretty messed up. It is pretty messed up.
I don't know. I have hope. I feel like.
Good, Sawyer. Run. You be it. You take over as Prime Minister of Canada.
No, thank you. I want to rap. I don't know. I just feel like, especially with the day and age of the internet, like you can literally find anything you want, and you can figure out stuff about like all this political stuff. Like probably within like 2 weeks, you could figure not all of it, like the grand scope, but you could at least have an understanding for it. And I don't know. I just feel like we're living in a day and age where I do think that is going to happen, where there are going to be some people. Maybe it will be.
Yeah,
you know, like you never know.
Maybe we'll fucking become politicians. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry? I'm saying like rap.
Kanye
can be president. I can be the mayor of Calgary.
Yeah, you probably do a dope job at it.
You like do the fucking podcast in like wherever this office.
You can be like Kanye. You can get all your work done while you're at the mayor's office.
First, I go to school with my kids. Like what? Do a full day of school, elementary. No, I don't know. I feel like, and it does come back to Kanye, like, and to Trump. To
Kanye's running, bro. Like, fucking Kanye's one of these candidates. We're not talking about him in the presidential debate. But,
like, just having someone that's like not a part of the system, even though it's necessarily not goodness, like whatever. Like seeing that was pretty cool. Like seeing a guy run and actually win, even though like you may fucking hate the dude, like it's still inspiring in a way where it's like, damn, like anyone could really do this. Like, and so, I don't know. I feel like there is going to be, I think the future generation is going to be very privy to like everything that's going on currently. And they're going to be able to weed out the bullshit and do it better. Because that's just how humanity is going, in my opinion, where it's just like keeps elevating and keeps evolving. So
I like that idea. I love having hope. Bring it.
Have you seen that over, I think 28 million people have voted early, as opposed to this time last year where it was like 6 million? So that lets me know that Americans are taking it seriously this year. I hope so. Or maybe young people are just like mobilizing. Someone's mobilizing.
Hopefully it's young people who are informed because they're going to change the world. I tell them all the time when I work with youth, it's like, yo, it's on y'all and you got this. Like you really do. You just have to participate.
Yeah. So our last global debate, we'll take it to Nigeria, where they are currently protesting a rogue police unit called SARS, which is the anti-robbery unit that was established. So for our next topic, we're going to take it, our last topic in global, we're going to take it to Nigeria. Basically, there's a police unit called SARS, the anti-robbery unit, which was established a couple years ago. And it's been known that this unit has harsh tactics towards the people that they apprehend. So people usually die in their custody, which means they're executing people a lot of time. Recently, a young boy, a student, was recently executed in their custody, and that's what began these recent protests. And so they've been out in Lekki, which is a part of Lagos City in Nigeria, and they were out protesting all over Lagos, I'm pretty sure, but this is the one that's made the news. And the government sent soldiers out there to go kill the protesters. These protesters were like between the ages of like 18 to like 26.
Yeah.
So pretty young people. And they have videos of it. You know, I've seen it's pretty fucked up visuals that you can find online, but people are hiding. No one's. The streets are empty because right now the government's basically shooting at its people. You know, and it's. I'm seeing also that if you try to tweet about it from Nigeria, like the tweet is gonna come up as fake news. The government is, you know, when the government is answering to this, they're saying it's fake news. They're saying it's not true. But you know, the civilians are reporting this. That's why, you know, it's made it to many people. I've seen Kanye has tweeted about it, Chance the Rapper, Rihanna, Beyonce, you know, so what is happening is known, you know, the civilians are making what's happening known. I think, and I don't know about the news, I don't watch the news down there, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to block it on the media as well. But yeah, the place is, it's basically under turmoil right now because, you know, this is still ongoing. You know, there's people out there protesting and you're getting shot and killed in the street for it. So I guess we're bringing this up, you know, just to create awareness. You know, a lot of people don't know about this, don't know exactly what's going on there. What can we do over here? Just continue to create awareness. The hashtag is #EndSARS. People are keeping the conversation going over here. Pray for Nigeria as well. This is corruption. You know, that's what this is. This is a corrupt government at play, you know, and can only pray that, you know, the right thing comes to pass. I hope that they can do what they can do to make this stop, you know, take action.
It speaks to like that larger problem that these systems that are set up are not necessarily for the people's benefit or protection. And it's so valuable and also agonizing when you see people standing up against the system and being killed and losing their lives, because it's like this necessary thing for people to rise up, but it's like this incredible imbalance, and there's a loss of all these innocent lives who are trying to really make it better. And I mean, when I see things like the Nigerian government doesn't have a great reputation. It never has. And I think when they say things like, there was a piece where they were like, we're going to end SARS, but we're going to bring in this different type of like kind of SWAT unit to replace some of the gaps that are filled. And it's like, yo, like that's not the problem. Like the problem is that your police are being trained in this militant way and you're not respecting your people. Like we don't want a new police force to replace this other one. And it seems like I don't know if you're from there and you've been there, you know so much more, but it seems like to me, it's like the whole thing has to change. It's like you need to bring in a new president and there has to be like a reform. But it's so difficult in a country like Nigeria to have an election that's legitimate and you know what I mean? Bring in
and that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. It's not even, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the elections are as legitimate as they can be, but it's like the leaders are corrupt, you know, that's not it's a known fact, you know, that, you know, the person in power should not be. That's what this is going to turn out into, because nothing else is not going to, you know, they're not going to say, all right, soldiers get off the street, everything is cool again. This dude is going to continue the rest of his term, you know, that's not what's going to happen. You know, this dude has to come out. And, you know, I feel like that's why it's become a foreign thing, because if other countries intervene, it's going to be like they're trying to overthrow another government, you know, so it's really a tricky situation, but it is the government. It is the government in control right now that is to blame for the situation. It's corruption, you know, and it's, you know, how can we make sure that we don't elect corrupt leaders moving forward? You know, this is a problem like Nigeria's had for a long time. You know, how can we, if they fucking get this guy out of office, how can we assure that the next dude is not going to be some corrupt dude as well? You know, that's usually the issue. You know, so prayer, man.
Prayer and I think solidarity and like you said, sending as much awareness as you can to different places and letting people keep talking about it, I think is something, right? It's like, don't stop talking about this, because if people are still dying for this, we should continue to be talking about it. It's the least, you know, like the least. Maybe you know or can help people link to places where you can send funds that can be part of it too.
Yeah, I think I've seen some societies, so I probably will put some on the blog. I'll put some links to some societies that people can support to help out. But just doing whatever we can for this cause, because it is pretty fucked up. But yeah, that concludes our global news.
All right. All right.
Good breadth of topics.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Now we have the national news. Thank you, Canada, which is low-key OVO news. And for the first news for national, we have the boy, Drake himself.
Yeah.
The gods, the sixth
The
god.
boy.
All praise.
Are you a heavy Drake fan, Sawyer? Are you a heavy
I fucking
Drake
love
fan?
Drake.
I love that you're proud of it. That's dope. You
shit.
should be proud of what you love. That's
Me
amazing.
and Shosho were those guys in high school that people would make fun of for because we like Drake for real, and now everyone loves Drake and it's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, it's so true. I remember that phase where there was like this divide, and now it's suddenly like everyone knows it. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone he's that dude.
Yeah, everyone knows. Yeah.
But he's got a new album coming out with probably one of the best titles I've ever heard. Certified Lover Boy. So he put out a trailer. Was it on Instagram, Shosho?
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram this morning. Yeah, it looked like a bunch of, you gotta check it out. It looked like some sci-fi shit.
Oh, dope.
Maybe not sci-fi. Or there was a bunch of, just looked like some high quality.
Yeah. The budget was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Right? Just so much money to make the things ever.
Let me just drop a quick $3 million.
Yeah.
Looking into the sky.
The trailer's only 30 seconds. Like, we don't need this. But yeah, so 2021, January 2021. So, it's probably gonna everyone's looking forward to that date. Not just because of his album, but for 2021 in general, because we're like, wow, this shit is ass.
He's a smart dude for like timing it that way.
Yeah. So my question, I guess, would be, do you have high expectations, low expectations? Are you excited? Are you not excited? And that's basically.
Bro, I got the highest expectations because if this is a top of the year album that he's been promoting all of 2020, like we.
Yeah. It took a year to promote it.
You did a year to promote it. And like, I mean, the year you're like, yo, no, top of 2020, and like, yo, you better run 2021 with this album. That's all I can expect. Because if I hear this album now, I'm like, oh, I'm leaving this in January, then you failed. So yeah, I expect nothing but the most fire of fire.
And also, it's like, I think at Drake's level, what I do have a lot of respect and I've always had respect for Drake for is that he really kind of pushed the boundaries of like what a rapper could be, like right from the beginning. Like he was like, yo, I'm going to sing and I'm going to do sappy kind of love songs. And like, I'm going to expose that I have emotions. And he did it in a really dope way. And it's been like part of his trademark that now people are like, wow, like this is amazing. And you see all these other kind of people kind of coming in and wanting to sing also, and how beautiful that goes together and like kind of the depth that adds to the hip hop that he creates. And I think I have high hopes because that he can call anyone and be like, yo, will you feature on this real quick? So I'm curious just to see like, who else is on it and like who else he brings. Those are the things where I'm like, okay, like let's see what else is happening, what's cooking in this collaboration wise, because he has that ability.
Yeah. Word. Yeah. Yo, Benny the Butcher is gonna be on this album.
Right?
Oh yeah. If there's a hook, I'll be upset. I only want bars for like 6 minutes.
Just a straight 6-minute track.
Everyone gets a 32 and just rap. Your punchlines.
That's dope. Oh my gosh, your cat is in.
She is just the worst.
She's in Drake. She's Team Drake.
I was gonna ask you, are you familiar with Griselda and Benny the Butcher?
Benny the Butcher, Griselda, less so.
But yeah, they're kind of like just new in the underground underground rap scene. I think it's like more gangster.
But Benny the Butcher featured on T.I.'s album, didn't he?
Yeah, he was on there with Jadakiss.
Yeah, that was when I was like, oh, that was when I found out.
Yeah, that track is dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely on the come up now. That's why he's getting these looks. So I think he's gonna be on the new Drake album. That's gonna be the ultimate look.
I wish that we could find out like how long somebody like Drake actually works on a project, because part of me is like, has Drake been working on this low key and he wanted to drop it in 2020, but now it's just been such a mess that he's like, okay, January 2021, let's move it. Like I bet that album has been done and then changed and then he brings something in. Like
I think he's working on it until it's done. Like that's until it's about to come out. I think he's always working on it. That's
right, polishing, adding stuff, cutting tracks, bringing in new ones. Like yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. And it's just like, for the team, they were probably, I know they were trying to get it out because that's what Dark Lanes was like, yo, take this garbage and my album's going to be out. My album's going to be out at the end of the year. And we just accepted it like, thank you, Drake.
Yeah, we'll take anything. Well, we're Sawyer's out there, low-key, waiting.
All right,
so it's like, it wasn't that bad.
I have my headphones on listening to like the one with Chris Brown. I'm like, this shit is fire. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sawyer's listening to it right now. He's not even got the podcast plugged in. He just plays Drake constantly.
I feel like they definitely have a plan. They definitely have a plan, and like they were trying to get this album out for the end of this year, and a lot of stuff is happening, whatever, and they're just like, all right, let's just, it's Drake, whenever he drops, it's gonna be a splash. So it's just like, let's just take our time with it and drop it 2021. That's how I see it. Let's just let's put some whipped cream on top of it. Like let's make it as nice.
The only thing that I really want from the album, because I'm not gonna like put any expectations like musically, because I think that's gonna be delivered. I think I really want it to be condensed, like kind of like Nothing Was the Same, where it's like 14 songs. Like I would love a Drake album to be 12 songs.
Man, remember
Nothing But Fire. Like
he said in the Rap Radar podcast that you'll never get the 11-track Drake project because he's got to give us the fucking singing and the rap. He's got to
so he has
balance both worlds so efficiently. And that's one thing, is like when he described it that way, is like that's one thing his albums have always done. It's never like, oh man, it's too much singing on here, or there's more rapping than singing. It's always been a nice balance of both. And so I can see that. I can understand why, but I think it's still possible to do the 11, like if he tried. but yeah,
you never know. All right. Well, in other news, we have the notorious Tory Lanez. He went on live and he was talking, he was saying some things like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. How? But yeah, so this story keeps going on. It seems like it's never going to end. I'd like to have an ending soon.
I'd like to have an ending soon. Please end it. Someone.
I just want to know, like at this point. But did you watch the live, Z? Did you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I'm going to be honest.
No.
I didn't watch it either, but I watched the Everyday Struggle, the episode where they talked about it, and they had pointed out basically that he said he was just basically poking holes in her story. That was the main purpose of it. He was just like, if you got shot, why did you say it was glass? Why didn't you tell the police that the guy that shot you was standing right there? Why did you get in the car with the dude that shot you? That was really the basis of everything he was saying. He also mentioned that the morning after when it happened, and he got a call from Rock Nation, which is Megan's management company, he knew that, this is going to be escalated into something that it's not.
Right. And I feel like I saw the lives that Megan did. Like this has been on for a long time. The reason one, but I've seen like all of the ones that began it. And I mean, I think that we forget that these people who are living in our world, but another world at this celebrity level, are still human beings. And I wonder things like, did he just like mess up and the gun accidentally went off? Like, I think it's like hard when it gets condensed to a headline of Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. Because it's like, I don't know if he intentionally meant to shoot her. Like maybe they were really high, maybe they're like drunk, maybe they're partying, like who knows what was going on in that situation. But I do think that like if someone got hurt and got shot, you should be able to be like, yo, I did shoot this person, but it was because of this is what was going on. It was accidental. Like, I want to know, did Tory Lanez intentionally shoot Megan Thee Stallion, or did Tory Lanez accidentally, because of these other things, have this happen and now they're working it out? Like, I just wonder about those types of things. And
I think
we never get to know that piece of it, you know?
That's everyone's frustration. He's dropped this whole album talking about it. He's gone live, but he's never done this one thing.
Yeah, just say.
He's not even mentioned if she got shot. He's not even addressed. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know if, you know what I mean? From his everything he said, he's not. You know what I mean? It's just like, why is she? You know, he's kind of just poking holes in her story, but he's not even addressed that she got hurt. You know, he's not even like.
Yeah. And I mean, I also understand like why in that situation. Like, in a way, it's like, I'm like, yo, Megan was probably protecting you. If she says, yo, this black man shot me in this situation, she knows in the culture right now that that's putting him in really grave danger. So in a way, her being like, no, I stepped on glass is like, it's having like that greater perspective of like, I'm going to try and keep this person out of police hands right now in this situation. So it's just like I think there's a lot of complexity there.
We said, like, basically someone's losing their career at the end of this. This is going to court, so someone's going to lose their career, because it's either Tory shot her and dude is lying out of his ass and we're going to find out that that's what happened, or Megan didn't get shot, someone else shot her, or period, Tory was not the one that shot her and she is blaming Tory, because now at this point she has pointed the finger at Tory. You know, and if that
or there's something that's not being said publicly of like why that happened, you know, like, did a gun just go off, or like, it's just
so either way, one of them is gonna be heavily discredited depending on, you know, the truth that comes out. You know, I'm pretty sure they have footage, man. Like, that's such a high class street, like they got cameras everywhere. I feel like police just showed up and, like, you know, seized all that footage, but they have, like, they wouldn't have charged him unless they have a case, you know. Like, I feel like they're baiting him. He's gonna go and they're gonna have the video. Like, but we'll see. We'll see.
He's like, it's going down. They're gonna play it's out.
I don't know. It's just his conviction, man. It's just like, man, this dude just dropped a 17-track album, you know, and it's gone live saying all this stuff, you know, and it's just his conviction. That's like, that's the only thing that's making me, because Megan's shown us her bullet wounds. Megan has, you know, gone, you know, the doctor has confirmed that it was bullet fragments that they pulled out. A lot more evidence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's given detail as to what exactly went down in the car when she went, you know, explained the story in detail. You know, there's a lot more in Megan's story than Tory's story is just like, yo, it didn't happen like that. You know, like, you know, there isn't a story. There isn't, you know what I mean? Like, he's not telling his own point of view. It's just like, yo, show you lying. That's a quote from the album.
That's literally going to be featured. That little segment, little interlude.
No, I shit you not. That's the song. Like, what's the one that we really fucking with? Look What God Made.
Oh, that's such a good song.
That's there's a bar there. It's like, yo, Shawty's lying. Like, that's his perspective.
He's lying.
That's his perspective of what's going on. So I don't know. I feel like we always feel like, I feel like we always turn this into something to like joke about, but it's definitely a very serious thing. That's why it's like we debate whether or not to talk about it. But we don't know, man. At the end of the day, we don't know.
That's true.
Like, all we can do at this point is speculate when new information comes out. But it's pretty weird that he went live after the album. He could have gone live anytime in the last 4 months. You know, it's like now that he's been charged and like he's like, yo, guys.
Yeah. Actually, we should address this though.
Like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, it was cool to drop an album when you weren't charged. Like, but like, I was like, yo, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That's really what's happening.
I can't imagine you'd be like that guilty. I guess if you're a compulsive liar, that's something you do.
Yeah, and if you're a human who's afraid that their career is about to disappear, like you know, like what would any of us do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I drop an album. I'd probably deal with it.
So it's like a case study for what not to do. But this is now going to be a hip hop. It's like, this is now a portion of hip hop history. This album might be his most memorable album of his career, you know, if he doesn't have a career after this, because of this, you know, the significance of everything that went down with this.
Yeah.
So
That's
talented.
Yeah. Which is messed up, which is why like he shouldn't have associated his music with this situation.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move on from this.
Yeah, word. That's all for national news. So we're on to
the local. On to the local news.
I knew it. I was ready. Look at, I even dressed my fit for the local.
Yeah. So today we got a guest, Z the Free, local MC. Tell us about yourself. Give us I was gonna do the whole list, like local MC, like what else, but you should do that list.
Okay, I can do that. I'm a rapper. I really love freestyle rap. I'm also a recording artist. I do a lot with community building. I'm the president and I started Cypher Club YYC, and we also have one Cypher Club YXC, where we get together a group of rappers, producers, artists, musicians, and we kind of practice the art of freestyle and that part of hip hop. I do a lot of youth work, teaching elements of kind of poetry and rap, and it's something that's really important to me because I feel that hip hop, and essentially salute to Black culture, Latino culture, where hip hop stems from, is something that really saved my life and kept me on the planet. And so if I can bring that into young people's lives and help them find that outlet, I think it's really crucial and really valuable to give back in that way. And I just love the idea of creative expression, making the world better in all forms. Like I love film, I love music, I love going to art galleries. I just think that there's a lot of beauty in the world, and humans do a lot of really terrible things too. And sometimes I just need that balance of the beauty to kind of keep me anchored and keep me here. So I play in a lot of realms.
Word. So you're from you just touched on that. You're from a cypher background. I saw on the review of your song "Love Me More."
With TK Othello.
That Angie did. That you're from a cypher background. So can you tell us more about that? Like, how did you get into ciphering?
Well, I've always been writing. Like I've been writing since I was like 8, and I have also always been in the studio because I got into professional voice acting when I was 11 years old. So I loved like being in the studio and recording and playing with my voice. And I was also listening to hip hop. I found it like when I was way young, and I grew up in this really small town in rural Alberta, but I found my way to hip hop, and I was just fascinated by like the word flow and things like cadence and like how they played with their vocal ranges. And I mean, then when it started, I started to get a bit older, and like Eminem and D12 and stuff were kind of getting on the radio, and the way that they would play, right, with the genre and what they were speaking about. And they almost had like this like wacky tone to it. And maybe I connected that kind of with like voice acting and play. And so I would rap always like alone in my bedroom as we all start. And then I remember connecting to Doomtree, which is a crew down in Minneapolis. And they have a female rapper called Dessa. And I was just like blown away by that idea that like, oh, like females can do this and rock this. And so I think I would just kind of put on beats and more just kind of speak, almost like spoken word, because that's where I started really with the poetry. And eventually, like, there's something about a beat and catching that flow that to me, it's like a sacred space. I feel like I'm channeling and it just flows. And sometimes I don't know if either of you ever freestyle, but you come out of it and you're like, I don't even also know what happened. Like everyone's like, bars. And you're like, I know. And I didn't even do that. So it's a pretty amazing high for me. And so once I started to catch that and then started to have the courage to do it in public spaces, it really started for me. Just Jamal, who's a DJ on CJSW, he did the Freshly Squeezed program. Shout out CJSW. He had this like kind of jam that would happen with him, Catfish the Wizard, and just some other artists at Molly Malone's in Kensington, like way back. And a group of us would go there and people would freestyle. And that was the first place where I like freestyled on the mic and kind of freestyled in front of people. And it was just so infectious and so addictive for me and such a healthy high that I just wasn't able to stop. and created Cypher Club as a space where I could do that on a weekly basis and level up. Because to me, artistry is always about leveling up.
Word. So tell us about Cypher Space, like more like specifically. So this happens every week still?
Well, it's interesting to do something like a Cypher Club when COVID-19 hits the world. But yeah, so we've been meeting now. It's coming up on almost 4 years. And it's a really solid crew at this stage. We started at Mount Royal on the campus, and I would and I still do, just like literally walk up to people like on the street and be like, yo, are you listening to rap in your headphones? Do you rap? Do you want to rap? There's a group of us. You should come. It's on Wednesdays. It's just like finding humans to come together. And I think enough people know about it now. Like it's kind of filtered into a lot of different zones. So people are familiar, like, oh yeah, there's like that Cypher Club thing, like Z's a part of it. And there's so many dope rappers who are a part of it. And so it's every Wednesday. It's kind of like a salute to Wu-Tang middle of the week thing. And we just get together. And in the summer with COVID, we were able to be outside, which was such a dope thing because people weren't seeing people and we were still getting together and rapping. People were safe, people were responsible. And we would fill up this park. And it was dope because like every once in a while, like kids from the neighborhood would come by and then they'd like come again, or like we were kind of near this parking lot at a community center. So like people would kind of start to be around, and like sometimes they'd be walking their dogs and they'd stop and like clap, and like older people, like all generations. And they were all like, yo, this is so great that you guys are doing this and you're coming together and finding a way to like share something, because the energy is really infectious at a cypher. At a live cypher, to me, that's like the essence of it. And I always imagine like, what would those first parties have been like? Like if you think way back, like DJ Kool Herc starting that type of energy. And when people came into that and were like, yo, like, this is dope. Whatever this is amazing. And to me, that's what the essence of Cypher continues to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And so once winter hits and now it's COVID, we're probably going to do Zooms, which is what we did when COVID first hit. And it actually works pretty dope. Like we have some people with some really amazing elaborate setups. Like they have it all like rigged up through like separate sound gear. And it works really well if you have a separate speaker and there isn't much delay. Like Zoom's a great platform. And we've had like upwards, like one of them we had like something like 40 people signed in. So it's just like a million tiny Zoom screens. And then sometimes it's really intimate and there's like 6 of us. And it's just like a nice way to stay connected when there's a lot of disconnection in the world right now. And rapping is very healing. It's so healing to me. That's how I feel it. That's what it brings to my life.
That's very true.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's dope. I'll definitely follow up with you about that.
Yeah, check it out.
That's pretty dope. So yeah, what is your creative process like? So now we're talking about, music specifically.
Right. I feel that music is something that is actually beyond process, because to me it's such an organic thing. So the great part about being an artist is sometimes you'll like have this carved out piece of time to write and nothing comes, you know what I mean? And you end up just thinking of things or listening to music or free writing. And then suddenly it'll be like 2 a.m. and that's when you're crazy inspired. Or I'll be driving to go somewhere and I'll get these bars in my head and I have to like pull over and I'm like voice recording and like tapping into my phone and getting late for a meeting. And so I think like inspiration is this really tricky mistress who's like kind of dancing all the time and you have to like call her over. But I also find that I like the kind of condensed pressure sometimes of having a time limit. So I learned this through doing this thing. There was this thing called Beat of the Week, and we used to get together and there'd be like a theme and they'd have a beat and you'd have like a really short amount of time to write 16 bars. And I found that for me, that produced actually some really dope writing, because I think I come from maybe that really good energy that freestyle brings. So just going off something and really exploding with it is something that works for me. And like with the track Love Me More, the music video is coming out for it in November. I'm super stoked. Me and TK, we had listened to the beat and we had some ideas of themes and I'd written something, and then we got in the studio and I heard like TK's verse, like where he'd kind of taken it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I had this idea. So while he was recording and like laying down the most smooth hook you're ever going to hear, I was like rewriting my verse verses and like just doing it. And I love the track and I love what it came up with, and it's really cohesive. So I think that the creative process is something that moves and shifts because sometimes it's not going to be what you want it to be. And the most important thing is that you write every day in some form, whether it's free writing or you're trying to craft out 8 bars or 16 bars, that you keep it lubricated. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep yourself hydrated with water. You got to keep your creativity lubricated by outpouring. And I try and freestyle every few days for sure, if not every day as well, because it's something that keeps my mind in that way.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm.
The next song is about, or the next question is about performing. Where have you performed, and where would you like to perform? So, where have you performed, like in Calgary, or I guess in Canada?
Mm-hmm. Performing is the most amazing part for me about being in the realm of music. It always has been. And I love performing in all aspects. I've also done a lot of public speaking to do with mental health, to do with the Young Women of Power conference. I've often spoken there. And so to me, that element of interacting with the crowd live is such a rewarding experience. It's very like reciprocal. It's like you get their energy and you give them energy. So I performed a lot in Calgary, like all over. I've blessed the 10 at 10 stage multiple times, which I'm super grateful for. I love local spots like Cafe Koi, where it's like a really intimate vibe. And a lot of artists that I really look up to speak about this thing that happens when you become really famous and suddenly you're performing far from the crowd and the lights are so bright that you can't even see them. And it's kind of just like this wave of cheering, but there's a big disconnect. So I really savor like those smaller shows because to me, I feel like when you can reach out and touch people and you can hear them and feel them, that's like the vibrancy of it. So I love those type of things. And to me, there's been also some really great kind of live on the internet things that I've done. We did one with the Saskatoon kind of like crew and zone, like their kind of big, I guess, maybe equivalent of like a larger concert venue like Mac Hall. And it was just such a dope experience, even though it was live. Like I was so hype in my living room alone, you know, spitting bars. So I think like if performing is something you love to do, then you got to carve out opportunities to allow yourself to perform. And if that's going live once in a while on your own, me and my roommate do these things called Sunday sessions, which I love. And she plays guitar and I just spit freestyle bars and it like gets me a little bit of that hit. So I'm really grateful to people who come out to shows because it's such a magic gift to me as a performer when people show up.
Word.
Good question.
Yeah.
All right. I it's a very basic, but it's like a question I just love. It's very interesting to me. First question, who is your top 5?
Oh my gosh, this is such an impossible question, y'all. Like, okay, I always try to spread awareness about women who rap because we don't do that enough. So Salt and Pepper were a huge influence to me. Dessa, that female artist. Missy Elliott because she's brilliant even in the way she performs. And I would say that Beyonce has moved into rap and she's done it in a dope way and she's influenced by Jay-Z, so she's in it. I really love Havaya Mighty. She's like a Canadian rapper from the sorority, that crew. They're really, really dope and their bars are dope. And then, like, of course, it's like I love Kendrick. I love J. Cole. I love people who kind of are like in that conscious rap realm, like Citizen Cope, Atmosphere, like storytelling in that way. To me, it's about like bars, storytelling, and like you're saying something that's meaningful. That's what I really love about hip hop.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Is there like a certain album that you heard and like when you heard it you're like okay, because I know you said you had that experience about like kind of growing up in like a studio and doing like voice acting and all that and like seeing someone else do it inspired you, but like was there an album for you that you like heard and you're like, oh shit, like this is I have to do this now?
Honestly, I think that it was probably like a combo, but do y'all remember like when Outkast was really doing their thing? And like Andre 3000 is just incredible. Like his ability is incredible. The way he speaks, I think, is incredible. And so that was really big when I was young, and just that like fast rapping and like how much they were saying with it. I'm trying to think other things that I would have heard young, but I mean, lately for me, it's been projects like Chance the Rapper's projects, you know, things that I can put on and like listen to the whole way through and just be like, wow, like every track just is so mind blowing, and it's really like takes you on a journey. I think that it's like hard to pick one project, but I remember like the essence of like people's amazing play with words. And I mean, as much as Kanye is a difficult human being, I can't not mention, right, College Dropout, because that was also a huge thing at that time. It's just more that it was something that I hadn't been exposed to as much, you know, like you take country music and small town energy and you let somebody hear hip hop and it's just like, what is this? Like, what is this though? This is something I want to know. And then you just learn.
Yeah, that's dope.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So my next question for you, Z, is what is the most trouble you've ever gotten into?
Wow. I have some homies in LA that I have gotten into some very interesting situations with. Because they're so dope that sometimes things escalate. That area right around Venice Beach is very close to my heart. I've had some really good adventures and visits down there. And there's some really brilliant rappers who I've met through that scene in that space. But Venice Beach is also like a wild place and it really changes at night. And yeah, I've definitely had some very sketchy situations in that zone. But I also think that there's something really cool about the way that people in hip hop look out for one another, because that idea of unity is very strong. And I've always felt like, even though I'm kind of like a visitor who comes in when I visit that crew down in LA, I feel like they really take care of me and they really like keep me safe. And if we're running, like they're making sure that I'm with them. So it's dope.
Okay. What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Wow. I have a lot of really wise people in my life. I think the best advice that I've ever been given, honestly, probably comes from my granny. She was really big about staying authentic and not being into drama or gossip, and really kind of going to the source of things. Like if you have a problem with somebody, or if you're not sure about something, or if you're feeling a type of way, like just directly address it and communicate openly. And I found that that's helped me to kind of like disseminate like so many different things that rise up, because people are really complicated. And if you usually just directly address something, it falls away immediately. And especially in rap and hip hop, I think there's this idea that we're always supposed to be beefing, you know what I mean? And we're always supposed to be creating things and sparking stuff and going on the internet and talking about it. And I just won't ever mess with any of that, because I just feel like that's not where I want to be putting my energy. I really want to be putting my energy into creating things and building more community, because people need to be coming together, in my opinion, more than being divisive. And so I really appreciate that wise woman, because I was really good friends with my granny. And so I feel like she really helped me bring in that grace to the way that I move and intentionality into the way that I move, because also it goes a long way to just like say you're sorry sometimes, or to address something and be like, yo, I actually like messed up here. Like that goes a long way. So being able to really be clear in the way you communicate and own up to things. And you got to know yourself to be able to do that. You got to have a really good connection with who you are, and develop your self-worth to be able to do that. So if people put in the work, it makes being a human easier, because it's a wild journey.
Yeah. And two more questions for you here. If you could change anything about the industry, what would it be?
Honestly, I feel like I'm working towards the change that I would like to see, which is that it is more accessible to different groups of people who I think have a lot of power and potential and talent, and they don't get access to it in the same way. And I'm a very privileged person. I'm white. I grew up in a family who really supported me. We were poor, but I always felt supported. And I actually think you don't know you're poor as much when you're a kid. And so I think that for me, what I would change about the industry is I would make a studio or a recording space that youth could access for free. And like youth, you know what I mean? Like I think we often make things available to people when they turn 18, but I know a lot of talented 12-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? And like Justin Bieber was a kid when he was discovered. So I would really try and get youth into recording spaces and the industry more, because I think that they have a lot of wisdom. And in particular, I would really like to hear a lot more Indigenous voices in rap and hip hop. I work a lot with inner city Indigenous youth and youth out on reserve on Treaty 7 land, and their stories and their depth and their ability to like catch a beat and like kill it is, I haven't seen it anywhere else. Like I have 14-year-olds who are spitting out on Treaty 7 who would absolutely annihilate some of the 22-year-olds that I know rapping in YYC. It's just like facts, because they have such depth from what they've lived. And I mean, that's what hip hop started from. It was like Black and Latino youth who were like, yo, no one is talking about my lived experience, so I'm going to do it. So that's what I would like to see change in the industry, is who we see in the industry and who we make space for in the industry.
Very, very true. So my last question for you is, what's next for you, Z?
That's such an exciting question. Well, I just dropped the Love EP, and it's been a very interesting process for me because immediately after I dropped it, I had a listening event, and I went from Cafe Koi in that event to be with my grandmother, and she passed away that week. And I was with her through that whole end of life journey and process. And it was right parallel with the time that I released my first solo project. And I think that life is like that. Like you get all these highs and all these amazing moments, and then you also get these really agonizing pieces of grief and reality. And so I think I took 2 weeks, which isn't enough, to really grieve and be with my family. And just recently I've kind of come back into, okay, now I want to still promote this project, because music really moves. You have about 3 to 6 months when a project is new that it's still relevant and people still want to like get it on playlists and have it be exposed. And so right now for me, it's really focusing on the Love EP, because that is my what's next. Like that's my focus. That's my baby. I think a lot of people also in rap will drop a project and expect it to just blow up on its own. And if it doesn't, then they just like move on to the next thing. And I'm like, yo, I put a lot of work into this project. I really thought about it. It's 5 tracks, but we worked on it for like a year. Me and DJ Roxwell, shout out to Roxwell. And so I'm not just going to let it die. I really want to put more work into promoting it and getting some exposure on it, getting some articles. And the Love Me More music video is coming out in November. So that's something that's like fresh off the project that I'm really hype on. We shot it in small town, rural Alberta in High River, because I wanted it to have like a really beautiful kind of different aesthetic. My homie TK Othello's on the track. He's phenomenal. And so the Love Me More music video is a thing you'll need to watch for in November. I'll be promoting it and talking for it soon. And listen to the EP again. Like if you listen to it once, that's so dope. Like listen to it again and like let me know what the dopest track is off of it. Find something in it that maybe inspires you to write. And that's like what I want people to focus on, that element of like, what does being generous mean to you? What does it mean to you to like go deep into forgiveness? You know, maybe that's forgiving yourself. Like, how do you stay real? All those type of themes. I would love it if they inspired other people in a way. So that's my focus for a bit. And then 2021, I'll just be so happy when it's like a fresh year and I can feel breezy. I can take deep breaths again. And then I think I'll start working towards another project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really dope.
Thanks.
So that is going to be the end of our local. Thank you for giving us the insight into Z the Free.
Yeah, thank y'all. This was done really well.
Thank you.
Better than last week.
Yeah. Our next segment is artist motivation. So we just like to have a little section in here, to motivate the artists. So I'm winging it today, but
Get it.
my artist motivation today is gonna be Kanye West, man. He kept bringing it up, man. But I remember when he was negative $53 million in debt, rapping about it on St. Pablo, on Life of Pablo. Saying love. My wife says, I can't say no to nobody.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about how he has to give like his family money and all this shit. And now he's worth $5 billion, and I felt like what I saw when I was watching him was like this confidence, because he was like, I was thinking of buying my master's back, but that's just too small a thought. I'm going to buy Universal. It's like, it's only worth 53 million. He literally said it like that.
Yeah.
53 billion is what he said. The products I'm making right now will soon be worth, like much more than that, so I'll buy the company. And it was more of the mindset, you could see it. It was more like, I felt like he had that confidence where he was like, I'm going to manifest this. And it was that same confidence that he had, like got him out of debt, So however we might feel about Kanye, we should all try to emulate that, in manifesting because he's still a creative that's manifesting things in different ways, through his belief.
The fearlessness.
Through fearlessness, exactly. Through his faith in God. He's channeling God.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's my artist motivation for today. So do you want to take us away?
Word. What episodes is it? 18, 19?
This is 19.
Damn. Okay, episode 19 of Just Kicking It. Z the Free, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been really, really, really fun to talk to. And
I love your cat.
yeah, I do sometimes. But no, it's been really great. You're a very nice person. I do wish you nothing but success in all your endeavors. I'll definitely listen to the EP again. It was very, very good, and so I'll definitely check it out again. And anyone listening, definitely go check it out. It's on all streaming platforms.
Yep, all streaming platforms, and stay tuned for the music video and dance, because you got to move your bodies. We stuck inside.
Yeah. So this has been episode 19 of Just Kicking It. Follow us on social media. You can follow me at The Only True Soy, Shosho.
You can follow me at Poliano_DA_Don.
You can follow me at Z the Free on Instagram, Z the Free in the world.
Awesome. All right. That's it. All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Much love, y'all.
Peace.